Mark, I was just wondering if you had an update on any kind of your injury situation right now. Anybody available to you in practice today that wasn't last night?
Everybody's progressing, that's out, and the concussion protocol is a progression, like you have to kind of clear different steps. And so some of the guys, Lou's been kind of in that. He's just checking each box and doing a nice job with that. Baisley's progressing. He's doing on-court stuff. Shea didn't do anything today. Roby and Hall are still in the earlier stages of the concussion protocol. They didn't do anything. Muscala is still sidelined. So, it's kind of status quo in terms of game status, but everybody's kind of moving along in the direction that they should be.
Paris Lawson, OKCThunder.com.
Hey, Coach, wanted to ask about Svi and what you're seeing from him on the defensive end. I know recently he's had some, tougher matchups against, really high caliber perimeter players, and wanted to see if there was any growth that you're seeing on that end of the floor from him recently.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that stands out is he's got a motor, and he's competitive. Like, he's going out there and competing against, some really, really hard matchups. And, it's been a rough little stretch of games here, these last three. But one thing it's allowed us to do is kind of explore, the boundaries of what our guys are capable of right now. And, what we're learning is that they're probably not capable of winning these past three games, obviously. But we're learning more and more about our guys. And like a guy like Svi, I think if you're not taking the injuries we're taking right now, you're probably not able to see him guard CJ McCollum or Doncic, for the amount of possessions that he's doing it. And it's allowed us to get like really, really good information on him. It's good feedback for him. And ultimately that's how you improve. You have those experiences, you reflect on them, and then you churn that back into the process. And we're in the process of that right now.
Joe Masato, the Oklahoman.
Mark, how beneficial is a day like today to get some practice time with Justin and Jalen and get them settled in a little bit to what you guys are doing?
For them in particular, yeah, it's really good. More so for them than anybody. Like they obviously were shooting a little blind last night and did a nice job, all things considered, like I mentioned after the game. But these days are great, just to get the team back together. I think when, it's just like game after game after game after game, the games are really, really emotional. There's a lot of intensity. There's a lot of, it's nice to get the group together in just like a lower intensity environment, and just everybody can kind of be around each other. It's really good for chemistry and for bonding of a team, whether you're playing really well or playing really poorly. It's always good to kind of root yourself back into a practice day where everyone's around each other in a more comfortable and calm environment. And I felt that today. I thought we had a really, really good practice. The guys were really upbeat, good connection. And, we get to kind of, exhale a little bit and then, plug back in, with these next 3 and 4 days.
Andrew Schlecht, Down to Dunk.
Poku started showing just a variety of moves in game, and seems to be getting better each game. So I just wonder, what have you noticed about him, personality-wise? It's kind of helped him to get to this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked a lot about kind of his basketball experience, but the other thing that for him and Teo in particular, like these guys are coming from a different country, to America for the first time. And, they don't know anybody. It's COVID. So it's like hard to go and, get an espresso with somebody, like you normally would be able to do. And so I think there's a real social adjustment that players have to make anyways, but in kind of the COVID era, it makes it that much more difficult. And I think, slowly over time, those guys have really integrated really well, and I think the bubble helps with that. Having been in the bubble last year with the NBA club, I know that, you're it's a campus environment, and there's a lot of positives to that. You're just kind of bumping into your teammates. You're in a lot of common spaces, and it's a good place to connect with people. And I think that was helpful for him. And since coming back, he's definitely more comfortable. I think he and Teo, those guys have, really grown. And obviously we've taken, some hits here the last couple of games, but if you zoom out to where those guys were, never mind at the beginning of the season, but when we drafted them, the progress has been loud, and they just keep getting better and better. There's going to be ups and downs. It's not linear at all, but like, if you look at it in totality, they've made a lot of progress, and him in particular it just seems to be slowing down more and more for him. It doesn't make the games any less challenging for him now than at the beginning of the year, but he's carrying a much heavier load and able to carry a much heavier load, and that take on that responsibility. He's doing a nice job with it, so we're going to keep working with him.
Back to Nate Gallo.
Yeah, speaking of Poku, you mentioned last night that every game he does, one or two things that maybe he didn't do in a previous game. And something that stood out to me was a nice backdoor cut that he made off of Tony Bradley. What are you seeing from him just as an off-ball mover? We've focused a lot on him with the ball in his hands, but what do you think he can do for you moving off the ball?
Well, I mean, that's kind of where we're using him right now. He's obviously ending up creating a lot for us at the moment, but we're kind of running him around, which is a luxury for, when you have a 7-footer to be able to do that. But, we're kind of running him around to kind of give him advantages so that he doesn't have to create them with the ball. Because physically, I just don't know if he's ready to do that yet. So we're trying to get him on the move and trying to loosen his defender up. And then when he kind of goes against the loose coverage with his size and his passing ability, that's where a lot of the creation's coming in. And that's been, something that we found. But, I thought the best thing he did last night, I mentioned it after the game, but I'll double down on it. Like, I thought in the first half, our physicality as a team was not up to par. And in the second half, he really stuck his nose in a lot of plays defensively and around the basket. His best play of the night was a foul, but he stuck his nose in there. And at the end of the day, he's getting this increase in minutes. He's getting an increase in creation and an opportunity. And what he needs to do, his responsibility is he has to compete with those minutes. And that's something that you learn. It's not easy to do that. And it's certainly not easy to do it night after night, but that's the standard that we want to hold everybody to. And that's something that he's fighting through right now. He's doing a good job on some possessions. On other possessions, he leaves something to be desired. But that's the other thing that, we're really focused on with him is he competing at a high level? And I thought he showed a really good response in the second half of that game last night.
Thank you, Coach. Have a good afternoon.
All right. Same to you guys.